Hi guys, good morning. This is Dan. Welcome to Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. For those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much for your subscriptions. I greatly appreciate them. Today is the general reading for the collective consciousness for all signs. It is for Tuesday, March 1st. So we are beginning a new month. So I've switched over decks. I had a bit of a issue this morning about which deck I wanted to use. I felt really torn between two different decks, so I've made the decision and changed it at the last minute. We have a new Oracle deck we're bringing in, and so the deck that I've chosen to use for the end of month of March is the Influence of the Angels Tarot. It's a deck of mine that I love, and I was tossed up between that and the Tarot of Mystical Moments, and I decided to go with the Influence of the Angels because certainly I love my angels and they love me, and I thought let's bring them in this month. This is my birthday month, guys. Today is actually my birthday, March 1st, and so you're aware of that. I am a Pisces. A little bit of housekeeping notes for the new people. If you are new to the channel, please check out the drop-down menu in the underneath the video. In there is all the descriptions of whatever you need to know, what decks I'm using, the Amazon links to purchase them. If you purchase them, I do get a small percentage of the sale. Or if you even use one of my links to go in and purchase other items off of one of my links, items that are not related, I actually get a percentage of the sale. So any of you that shop Amazon, go in through one of my links and then start shopping Amazon, and I actually get percentages of whatever it is that you buy. Beyond that, like small percentages, but still, it's a great way to support the channel. Beyond that, please check out the rules, or not the rules, but like kind of things I want you to think about while using these readings. These readings are collective. They are for all signs. We do share energies and experiences, and we all experience them in different ways. So there's a lot of flexibility with this reading. Also, I will say this, it's originally created for the 1st of March, but if you're seeing this on a date that's not the 1st of March, yet the reading still makes sense to you. Oh, it's 5:55 a.m. Very cool. If the reading still makes sense to you, that's okay. Utilize it to the best of your ability. Use it to support you and validate what you already may be feeling or know, right? Don't necessarily have the information in the reading replace your own information. Hopefully it's just supporting something that you're already aware of, and it's just validating where you're at, okay? Beyond that, please hit that thumbs up button if you like the content. Please consider subscribing. I do want more subscribers, and I would love it if you shared the video out so that other people can help. It will help me to find. It will help other people to find my channel as I grow it. I would love to see this channel grow and to become something positive in the world, as a source of inspiration, hope, support for others, right? And then I just looked at the clock ticker on the video and it said 3:33, so that's a nice sign. Okay, so let's get into this. And I will reference back to the underpinning energy, which is Sunday's reading. So you'll hear me mention cards that you're not actually seeing. That's going to be a video that will show up in the bottom left-hand corner of this video if you want to watch it to understand where I'm referencing, because that's like a layer of energy that lays underneath these cards as these cards show us what's happening for the day, okay? So let's see what's going on for March 1st. Tuesday, March 1st. I don't like that. I'm going to shuffle one more time. That felt a little bit goofy. And our card for the day is the 9 of Pentacles. Not mad at her showing up, let me tell you. The 9 of Pentacles is independence, essentially, right? She's oftentimes associated with the sign of Virgo. She is Pentacles energy, which makes her Earth energy. She's very grounded. She's very independent. I would say this is about trusting who we are, what we know, what we have. This is about trusting our own strength, our own ability to see our way through whatever it is we're dealing with today. Without the need and this is not about like being on our own or not accepting assistance, but we don't necessarily, when you see the Nine of Pentacles, it doesn't necessarily mean that we need assistance. It doesn't necessarily mean that we need to question ourselves or worry. That we are our own provider is really how she represents. I look at her, there's like three ladies of Earth, of the Earth element in the deck, as I see them as sort of like, my joke is they're the Brady sisters. Marsha is the Empress. Jan is the Queen of Pentacles, and then Cindy Brady would be the Nine of Pentacles. She's always depicted as a singular woman with a falcon. Usually she's in a field, right? But I love that in this deck they sort of use these references, some of these references where she has this, let me get my pointer, she has her falcon here, right? Which means she can like let him go up further higher into the sky and get a broader look or overview of what's going on. She has her angels or spirit around her sort of guiding her. She also, this is something that's not necessarily common, but she has this little dog here, so she's not completely alone, but she is always depicted as being independent, standing alone in a field of abundance, right? Able to provide for herself. She doesn't necessarily need no man is kind of the card that the feeling that I get with this card. That's why I call her Miss Independent. Now, underneath this, for the early part of the week, we had that card from the Da Vinci deck, which was Deluge, which is essentially a major arcana card. They call it Deluge in that deck. It is the Tower, right? The Tower is about things maybe falling apart, shifting, changing in ways that we didn't expect or that we don't necessarily feel comfortable with. They are things that challenge us as they change because they're built on faulty foundations. They're built on situations or narratives or ideas that aren't necessarily for our own highest good, right? They're not necessarily where they need to be. And we need to sort of roll with those changes and let them fall, right? When I see this Nine of Pentacles here, it says to me that whatever is falling apart or whatever is transforming or maybe changing for each and every one of us, we are strong enough to withstand that change. We are strong enough to stand in the midst. It's like, to me, this feels like the calm in the center of the storm, right? Where we can stand in the middle of the change, the shift, even the loss for some of you. Some of you might be experiencing a profound loss with the Tower card at play in the background. But with that shift, we can stand on our own two feet. We can be strong. We can provide for ourselves. We can stay grounded. We can stay centered. And we can remain true to ourselves, right? So she's actually a rather stable card, productive card, discerning card. She's not going to get drawn into the controversy or the chaos. Yesterday, we saw the Four of Cups, which was a little bit more emotional around whatever was going on, right? That Four of Cups would indicate, and that would be, I do these a day ahead, so that would be today's date. We might be a little bit reluctant or feeling a little bit more emotional about a situation, a little bit more in resistance to the change that's going on. This Nine of Pentacles says to me, we've adjusted a bit more to the change, and we're like, okay, that's fine. If this is how it needs to be, then this is where I stand within that, right? This is my truth. And that's interesting. I said that because I just looked down, and this was yesterday's grounding stone, which is truth, which is the grounding stone for today, for this morning, as I'm doing this reading for tomorrow, right? Sorry to be a little bit confusing. But so she's now standing in her truth. If we've grounded in our truth yesterday emotionally, and we've understood who we are, what we are, and accepted that fully, that's what brings about this energy of this Nine of Pentacles. She says to us, I can provide for myself. I don't need to rely upon this situation to stay the same. I don't need to rely on this person to provide this for me. Whatever it is that I'm expecting and it's not coming due to that Tower sort of fall apart or that Tower dissonance, right? It's not happening. Does that make sense? It's working not against us, because ultimately the Tower is something is changing or shifting because it's not what's best suited for us, or it's not in the most ideal position for us to get the most out of it. That doesn't mean we have to lose it altogether. It just needs to be maybe somewhat rebuilt, relooked at, revisited. And we need to be sure in who we are and what we know to be our truth so that it can be more foundationally sound. And that to me is this Nine of Pentacles, is that as we find our, grounding, foundational soundness within ourselves, we can then sort of allow the situation to shift and change without much drama or harm coming to us. Does that make sense? Because oftentimes people associate the Tower with like pain, upset, loss, that sort of thing. And it can be that for us, right? We did see yesterday's card was the Four of Cups, which was listed as disappointment in that Da Vinci deck. They have different names for them. So, some of you might be experiencing a loss or a change that you don't necessarily like. Well, this Nine of Pentacles says that we can kind of stand up, like get back up from the fall or the fight. And we don't have to, what's the word? We're not dependent upon anybody other than our own strength. And I like that she's here today. She makes me feel secure and secure within herself as situations shift. And if they shift, let them shift. Know who you are is what she's saying to me, right? Know your truth. Remember, this week's grounding stone is about create. So everything that we're doing, we are on some level, whatever we're thinking, how we're feeling, what we're putting out into the world is what we are essentially creating. Hence why the next, the following, yesterday's grounding stone was about truth. What is your truth? Because if you're living in that truth, that's going to ultimately probably be part of your creation this week. The Nine of Pentacles says, okay, now we've accessed that truth. Now let's stand in it, be independent, and provide for ourselves, create for ourselves from within that truth, no matter what goes on around us. All right, let's look at this new deck, which I'm very interested in. This is a new oracle deck called Sacred Destiny by Denise, Linn. And we're going to pull a card from it, and I may read you the story because it's just been... I'll give you my interpretations just from the art first, and then read you the story of what the card means. This is a new deck. I've not even looked at it yet, but I felt like it would pair nicely. This is just the back design of the deck, which I think is beautiful. The water, which I associated with Pisces, and then the light, which I associated sort of with the angels. And our card is Gateway, which I love this, to be honest. It makes me want to cry a little bit. But I'm a Pisces. I cry at the opening of an electric bill, to be honest. So, when I look at Gateway, to me, first off, what I'm going to say is that, do you see the mountain behind us? That, to me, is the tower. This is us getting beyond that, right? We are this sort of magical unicorn. Leave it to Pisces to have this magical unicorn come into our reading today. As a Pisces myself, I do believe in magic. That's why the Page of Cups is one of my favorite cards of the deck, right? And I feel like this unicorn is a magical creature, right? To some, they don't exist, right? To some, they're just like figments of the imagination. But to others, they are very magical creatures. They're in our lore. They're in our history. They're in our stories. So maybe at one point in time, they did exist, right? But when I look at this, it looks like to me, there's been a mountain that's been climbed or a mountain that we are getting beyond. And when I see the word gateway, it looks like something is being released, ourselves. There's a purity to the whiteness of this horse, right? There's a purity of heart, and that purity lives within this Nine of Pentacles, in her knowing who she is, what she has to offer, what she can bring to herself. That's her truth, right? And as she lives in that truth and she grounds in that truth and she owns that truth, she's able to sort of free herself and move through the gateway and move away from whatever it is that was the impasse, whatever it is that needed to be changed. It doesn't necessarily mean that things have to fall apart, guys. It means that there is opportunity here for us to sort of take ownership. We had that card yesterday, which I loved, with the lion. It was like a king bee, and it was sort of like, take responsibility for your decisions. Even sometimes inaction, taking no action at all is a decision, is taking an action. Right? And so when I see this, these two cards feel extremely empowered to me. today. It feels like a combination of when we believe in ourselves, we almost open up the gateway for ourselves to transform and move forward in a magical kind of way through the gateway into a different scenario than whatever it is that that tower was providing us. Does that make sense? So let me read Gateway to you just because I want to. I think I'm going to love this deck. I'm really interested in it. Gateway, Enchanted Valley. There are places on the planet where the veil between the physical realms and the mystical dimensions are especially thin. These places are called portals, vortexes, or spirit gateways. In mythology, there's spirit up there with her. In mythology, they are revealed as places where things beyond ordinary reality can occur. Mystics, visionaries, and shamans can traverse this realm and the next through these places. In Celtic traditions, the wee folk, the fairies and elves, easily move through these portals and have access to these magical places. The Enchanted Valley is a place where these portals often appear. The sacred landscape wants you to know magic is afoot. Wondrous events are unfolding. Profound revelations and inner illuminations are close at hand. It is now much easier to manifest your dreams. It is an excellent time to take action on your visions for your future. A small amount of action now will generate much bigger results. Gateways to spirit are opening, and there are places where the veil is especially thin. Fairies and elves are supporting you. Wonders are blossoming in your life. Watch for them. Open your heart to hallowed, holy, magical energy. The more you become aware of the small marvels in your life, the more they will grow in magnitude. The other thing that I think about this too is about that create stone that is for this week. You know, it's like we are creating opportunity. There are opportunities being created for us this week that we may not see as we are dealing with the trials and tribulations of whatever this tower or this shift or this change may be, this mountain that we've had to come across, right? So to me, these are very hopeful cards. Let's look at, and remember too, we're heading into that midweek card, which is the 10 of Cups, which is a very beautiful, like dreams do become true kind of card. So it's very exciting to me that that's our midweek card. So we might actually find a very profound shift as we move through these first few days of this week. Now, this is on Snowflake Obsidian, this stone, the grounding stone of what we're supposed to ground in. And I like that it's Snowflake Obsidian because it's got a mixture of both black and white. There's an evenness, and obsidian like naturally it wards off negativity. It's also an extremely grounding stone. The word, I don't know if you guys can read it there, is sharing. Sharing our true self, who we really are, acceptance of who we really are, and sharing that part of ourselves could be the very thing that allows us to open up the gateways or the portals that this card here, Gateway, talks about. She owns who she is. She owns, it's like she's like, you know, her phrase would be, I own 51% of this company. You know, like she is in control, independent, all of those wonderful things. And she's willing to share that and not in the sharing of that, she doesn't have to give it up. Does that make sense? She doesn't have to lose it, in essence, to share it. And so, connect with yourself, share with yourself also today, right? Like, remember that in that sharing of whatever it is, your thoughts, your feelings, your vibes within yourself and your own self-assuredness is opening, whether you're sharing it with others or just within your own mind and heart, it's opening gateways for things to be created this week that could be quite magical and beautiful and maybe even mystical or seem unreal to you, similar to that unicorn that exists there. But you know, when I was a kid, I used to always believe in unicorn and Pegasuses. I always wanted one. So, that is your forecast for the day. I hope it makes sense, you guys. I know it's a little bit mystical, but it is Pisces season. Oh, and that's the other thing that I was going to say too, as far as gateways are concerned. We do have the new moon in Pisces on Wednesday. The moon comes out of Aquarius on the 1st and goes into Pisces on the following day. It's a new moon, so that would definitely be a gateway or portal that we need to be aware of as we move through all of this. So new moons are about creation and what we want. And so that coincides very nicely with that grounding stone. All right, you guys. So thank you so much for tuning in. Please hit that thumbs up button. Please subscribe to the channel. Share the channel out so that other people can find me. And I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow to see how this energy changes and builds and what sort of gateways we do open up to and what we create this week. Have a wonderful day and take care. I love you all. Bye-bye.